Good evening, and welcome to Let's Talk with Lakshmi, a show about us, our people, our community, our culture, our experiences. And viewers, I'm really excited. Right now, I am at the Caribbean Fine Arts Fair with none other than Diane Madray, who is from Cadva. You guys have seen her on the show before. So Diane, tell me a little bit about what are we doing right now here in Harlem, New York City?
Well, right now, Lakshmi, what we're doing is, this is a show about Caribbean artists.
Okay.
And Cadva has had the fortunate opportunity to display our series that was done by Carl Anderson, which is about domestic violence, here at this exhibit. And it's been getting good responses.
Okay, well, congratulations on that. I know that Cadva has been doing a lot of work when it comes to our Caribbean culture, not only here in the United States of America, but you guys are traveling back and forth. You've gone to Guyana, you've done women movements over there, trying to help people in Guyana to fight against domestic violence. Now, Diane, I know not recently, but for quite a while, there's a lot of domestic violence that happens in our community, and Cadva has finally taken a step forward to say, stop the violence, say no. I mean, how do you feel being part of an organization like that?
I'm very honored to join efforts with Sucre Badram, who is the founder of Cadva, to do such a project. It's been very innovating, and the work that we've been doing with women. But one of the things that I'm looking at with this is that we need to stop making this issue a miscellaneous topic in whether it's politics, whether it's in the mandir, the religion and stuff, because it needs to be more at the forefront. So we need to move it from miscellaneous topics to issues where we can begin to address to help our women in the community.
Now, you use the word miscellaneous. That's very interesting. Why would you say that domestic violence is a miscellaneous topic?
Well, because I think society is making it a miscellaneous issue, because no one, like even when you look at it politically, whether it's in Guyana or here, people are putting it like at the back burner. So when you see an agenda, like I saw an agenda that when they talked about women's issues, when I'm looking for the women's issues, it was under the heading miscellaneous topics.
So they're not taking it very seriously.
Well, if you look at that from retrospect, Lakshmi, and you see, women's issues under a heading that says miscellaneous topic, it's going to tell me that my issues as a woman is just miscellaneous. You know what I mean? Which means that it's not so important.
Well, very serious topic that I'm very happy that Cadva and yourself are addressing. Now, I know you have 5 pieces here, and I just want you to tell me a little bit about the pieces that we're going to be taking a look at.
All right, I'd be happy to. The series is called Reflections, Faces of Domestic Violence. Each one of them tells a story, and it was written specifically for each painting. For example, the one with Sucre. This one here is with Sucre, the founder of Cadva, and she, as you know, she wrote the book Breakout. And what we decided to do is sort of like pull her theme from the book into it. And as you can see here, it's about breaking out, moving beyond social expectations and traditional expectations. Sucre wrote the book being a Hindu woman and breaking out of it. So Carl Anderson, I had Carl created this image where Sucre is sort of like breaking out of a fire of that image, where it's like a struggle, and we as women do go through that. We're going through so much struggle, not just in our community, but in the churches, in the courts, everywhere that we have to deal with these issues, we are going through a struggle. And in some ways that's showing the struggle between our Hindu religion and what we have to face today, especially when you acculturate into a society like this here in the United States.
And I mean, it's very interesting. We have her in her Indian wear, and then American, and then she's breaking out like through her third eye, right? Through the fire. Okay. And it's a very powerful piece, I must say. Okay. And I mean, again, domestic violence hits anyone, Hindu, Muslim, Christian. It doesn't take a phase, it doesn't take a form, it doesn't take a religion. So it's a very powerful piece. So tell me about this piece over here. I mean, this girl looks like she's gagged, right? She's abused and she's gagged. Here, tell me about this.
This was an image that was done before, and it was a media image, and what we did was we had Carl Anderson painted this, manipulating the image, showing that how much, when we are silenced as a community, how much it hurts that we're not able to talk about it, and we wait for something to happen, and like in this case, as the image portrays, she dies, you know, and that's how it ends, you know.
And this picture down here, tell me about that one.
This one basically reflects all the voices of domestic violence. So it shows you various images of women that brings together what the feeling of domestic violence is. Each one of them, as you indicate, each one of them does have a powerful message.
Tell me about the kids on the side here.
Actually, those are actually women.
Oh, those are women,
different
okay.
Faces of women. So some of the media stories that ran in Guyana with women that were battered due to domestic violence, Carl took images of those through the media sources and created this painting to sort of like depict the domestic violence, what it's all about in terms of power and control.
Very powerful. And tell me about this one.
Okay, this one is about sisters. It's about what happens when, you know, as a community we sort of neglect each other and act as a bystander. And these are some of the things that happen within our community. So this piece is actually called Sisters.
And now this piece on top here, this is a very popular piece. I've seen this on several of your commercial ads, okay, for Cadva. Tell me about this image here in the mirror.
This image is the first of the series. This one is called Woman in the Mirror, and this one was created with one of our first domestic violence advocates who experienced domestic violence, Tiffany Jackson. So this was actually an actual image of one of the women that we worked with, and showing the image through the reflections through a mirror, because you know, domestic violence happens to anyone. It doesn't have a face, it has many faces, and sometimes we tend to go through stuff like this where we can't see the scars, even when the scars are no longer there. But a woman that goes through domestic violence can still see that scar, the residual effects of that scar. So in some ways, this is kind of like what's happening here in this image.
So, Diane, tell me, from being here, showcasing your work from Cadva, I mean, where do you think from here this work will go, or what type of effect do you think this work would have on our community?
Well, one of the things, like I said, we're creating this through building public awareness through the arts. I'm also looking for artists to create the second series that's going to pull that religious theme further with the Hindu, Muslim, and Christian, and it'll be very controversial, more than this one has been. But when you're telling a story, it can come in many forms. And telling the story of what our women are going through, whether it's Guyanese, Trinidadian, whatever part of the Caribbean or whatever part of the world, it's telling of what's happening. So we're telling a story through these paintings. So it's been a moving exhibition.
Now, you mentioned that it may be controversial. What type of negative feedback have you gotten with this work?
Well, in terms of negative, I think some people kind of like, why did we do something like this? Okay. You know, and it's just the as they get closer to it and they see it, it's some people might not see this as art, but it's telling a story. It's communicating through the art, because there might be some women who might be affected by domestic violence, and when they see this, it hits, and it's also therapeutic. It's very therapeutic.
Well, Diane, I have to commend you. The work is excellent, and for you to be displayed right here at the KAFA Fair, that's indeed a great achievement. So I must commend you and Sugri for all of the great work that you guys are doing.
Thank you so much, and we want to thank the Dwyer Culture Center here in Harlem for allowing us to display this series. Thank you, Lakshmi.
Okay, thank you.
2 months ago, after my mother's hospitalization, the doctors wanted to put her on hospice. And I'm like, you know, they deemed her terminal. And I saw Mr. Thakur, I think the founder, on TV, and he was advertising this Indian community in Kings Harbor. It's a great Indian community where my mother feels at home, and she expresses her happiness to me whenever I come.
I know when I come, I feel happy. I stay couple and I see everybody, and I'm so happy
I brought my mother here like a month and a half ago, and I haven't regretted my decision. It's one of the best decisions I've made for my mother. It's a home away from home.
Really exciting, guys. I just found Carl Anderson. He is the artist behind the work here with the Cadva pieces. So Carl, I have to tell you, your work is impeccable. It's beautiful. It is extremely powerful. Now, I know you're Guyanese. Where in Guyana are you from?
I'm from Workmanville, Georgetown, in Darwin Street.
And how long have you been an artist?
All my life, since I was 5 years old.
So what did you used to do when you were 5? I mean, what did you work with as far as art was concerned?
At age 5, my mom said I used to scratch on the walls and so on, and I used to get some lashes for that.
Uh-oh.
That is what she told me, and she used to give me pieces of paper and pencils and crayons for me to scratch on that, and not on the wall. So that is what she said to me. I knew myself as an artist when I was in primary school. There is where I can remember drawing and painting with watercolors and and so on. But from age 9, when I was living in Ben Street in Workmanville, I saw an artist by the name of Rodwell Singh from my window looking to the next yard. He used to paint under his bottom house. And one day he saw me peeping through the window. And he said, "Little boy, come over. You want to learn?" I said, "Sure, I'm coming over."
Okay.
And I went over. And from there, the discovery of my talent started.
And what is your passion when it comes to drawing? Like, what do you love to draw the most?
I love drawing anything. Anything. Because life is about living it. Art is life, right? And I don't think we should put barriers to it. It should be broad, because it's to widen the horizon. It's life. So we shouldn't put a margin, an end. It's beyond an end. It's alive. So I personally feel that about art, and I don't think artists should restrict themselves to just one thing. Go beyond the limitations and just do what you gotta do.
Amazing. Spoken like a true artist. Now, Carl, tell me, what inspired you to do the series that you did for Cadva?
Okay. A few years ago, Diane Madray, I met her in Guyana when she was working at the Pegasus Hotel doing some work for them. And we spoke about a project, not this project. And then when I came up to the US for my show, she reminded me, she said, "Remember I told you about, I want you to do a project for me?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Are you thinking about it?" And I said, "Really and truly, I don't like the topic because it's very tough to digest." I thought about it, and it took me 2 years to give her my final decision. At the end of the 2 years, I said, "Okay, Di, let's go for it. Let's go for it because it's your passion, it's your dream to deal with this kind of plague, this disease of the domestic violence against women and abuse of children." So I thought about it several times that the only way you can put an end, or try to put an end, it can be through visual stuff. Let people see, what goes on in a violent situation. And all of that really pushed me to help out Diane in the end. And I called her and I said, okay, let's do it. Let's give it a shot.
Awesome. Now, how effective do you think your work is to people when they see this? Do you think that right away they're shocked and they'll feel like, oh my God, they can relate to the pictures or feel sorry for the person who's in the pictures?
On several events where Cadva had the events in Guyana, I was with them in Guyana when they took this series to Barbies and so on. And the response, what I saw, especially from police officers, it was very shocking. I saw almost tears coming out of their eyes when they looked at the pieces, because they said they never expected that violent effects could be through painting and create such an impact to make them wonder why men are beating women. We came from them. So that is one of the impact I got from the policemen here in Guyana. Now, I don't know about here and other places, but I saw that in Guyana at that event where lots of police visited the show. Lots of police, not one, not two, more than about 30 something visited the show. And their reaction was phenomenal towards these pieces.
Wonderful. So you're inspiring a community with your artwork.
I think so.
Now, Carl, where would we see your work normally?
Okay. I am a creative artist as well as I'm a photorealist painter. To see my work, people can go on. They can friend me on Facebook.
Okay.
Friend Carl Anderson, put Guyana, and you can see me. Or just put Carl Anderson, a Guyanese artist, and send it to me. I will friend them so that they can get the opportunity to see the work. Or they can Google me, Carl Anderson, Guyanese artist, and you see tons of stuff there on Google. Not just one, not just two, but lots of stuff. Because I've been working non-stop.
Since you were 5?
Yes, since I was 5.
Well, Carl, thank you so much for all of the great work that you've done. Would you like to give any message to any other artists out there?
I would say my advice to artists is do not give up. Stay focused. Just focus on art must be your life. Art must be something within you, and you gotta do it. It must be not only a job, it must be your vocation. It must be your passion, and don't worry about what people say, whether they don't like it or like it. You have to do it, whether the world like it or they don't like it. You must like it first, because it's your children, and just emphasize on you must love it. That's for, and then the world will love it after.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nanking chain of restaurants, a large variety of Chinese, Thai and Indian cuisines, prepared and served by our seasoned chefs and experienced professionals in the exotic environments of our state-of-the-art restaurants and banquet halls. We proudly serve halal meats, vegetarian, non-vegetarian and seafood delicacies too. We specialize in catering for private corporate events and all occasions. Nanking Restaurants in New Jersey, Stelton Road, Hadley Center South, Plainfield, Parkway Plaza, Oak Tree Road, Iselin, Hudson Street, Jersey City, Hillside Avenue, New Hyde Park, New York. Also at 37th Avenue, Jackson Heights, New York.
Okay, viewers, I'm here now with Anderson Pilgrim. He just came off of the stage. He is the executive director for KAFA. So, Anderson, please tell me a little bit about the KAFA organization.
Well, KAFA Fair is actually a concept with myself and Dr. Gloria Gordon from Trinidad, Louis Crawford from Jamaica, to really expose the art of the region, the entire region, all our language groups, our entire cultural heritage to the world. And we wanted people to come to the Caribbean to see that.
Now, this is your 4th year with this
Yeah, we're
program?
going into the 4th year now, and of course we are doing this event here in Harlem to present a slice of what KAFA is all about.
And I know you originally launched in Barbados.
Yes.
I know you're from Barbados, right?
Yeah, but I've lived in the United States now, in New York, for over 25 years. But I'm still a Caribbean man, wherever I go.
So living here for 25 years, what inspires you to do something like this type of a program for our Caribbean people?
Well, as I mentioned again, I'm always going to be a Caribbean person. And I love the region. I think we have so much potential, so much talent, and I feel that it is incumbent upon people like myself who we have come abroad, have a lot of experience, got exposure, to give something back and to assist the artists there to expose their talents.
Now, Anderson, tell me exactly what will we find here today at the fair?
Well, at this fair, this is 12 artists, and usually at Cafa Fair you'll have over 40 artists representing all our language groups. Here you are getting a capsule, basically, of what CAFA presents. And here you see the diversity of the talent in the region. You have artists from Guyana, of course, Barbados, Jamaica, Montserrat, Antigua, and all across the region, Haiti, you name it. You know, we have all of that creative talent here to expose that to the wider public, the art-loving public in this country, to show them what is possible and what we present in Barbados.
Now, what I found very interesting was, as I walked around and looked at all of the beautiful pieces, I met people from all over the world. But what was interesting is I met people that were not living in New York City. Like, people traveled from different states to come to this event.
Well, that's very exciting to me, and that's what we hoped would happen, that the word would get out. This is a very unique exhibition. Even museums in this country have tried to present shows on Caribbean art, and we think that we have our hand on the pulse of what's happening. And for the reports and the response we've gotten, we are very pleased with the response. So I'm happy to hear that you met so many people from outside of New York.
So, Anderson, 5 years from now, where do you expect to see CAFA Fair?
Well, we want to first of all see CAFA Fair as one of the major art fairs in the world. We want galleries, institutions, people who are in the art world to be looking forward to attend that event every year to see the talent coming out of our region. You know, as someone mentioned in the presentation earlier this evening, art is about economic development. It's about empowering our talent and give them an opportunity to make a living and to support their communities. You know, so that's what we see ourselves as, being that conduit for the talent in the region to expose their art all over the world.
Now, would you say, or do you think that art such as this can be a profitable career?
Oh, it sure can. I mean, just behind us we have work by Carl Anderson of Guyana. He's a professional artist. He lives by his art, and it can be done. I mean, there are artists all over the world that live by their art, and there are a lot of other opportunities in the art business besides just creating the paintings and their sculpture themselves. And this is the business of art, is what I'm about.
Now, Diane and Sukri both mentioned to me that there was a collaboration with the United Nations and this art fair. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the two organizations that have sponsored this, the International Communications Association and the Martin Luther King Jr. New York Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolence, are both affiliated with the UN. And they saw this as an opportunity to connect themselves with what we are doing for the Caribbean. Also, that was one of the reasons why we wanted to connect with Cadva to present what they're doing, and we will have a UN ambassador here later in the month of November. His name is Aja from Barbados. He's a poet, but he has traveled for the UN as an ambassador all over the world to highlight areas that are war-stricken and poverty-stricken. So we want to incorporate that in our presentation, and the sponsoring agencies were very pleased with that.
Well, thank you very much. You're doing wonderful work, and I can't wait to come to the next fair.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
Elegant Floral Design. We can help you beautify your event. No occasion is too big or too small. We specialize in floral decor and party planning for every event. Please call 718-322-9786. Please use promo code Lakshmi for a discount. Viewers, as walking around, I met David Boothman. He's one of the artists here at the KAFA Fair, and excellent work that he has done here. You can see just 3 of his pieces. Now, David, tell me, where are you from?
I'm from Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago, okay.
But generally, I'm from the Caribbean. So I'm involved not only as an artist, a musician, writer, educator, but I'm also involved in the Caribbean Renaissance Foundation that's really working towards changing the Caribbean identity and bringing it all around into one powerful dynamic, which is very important right now, because part of this whole movement is in the next 5 years, the younger generation would not have the kind of substance and content. So this whole movement is to bring back the work of the cultural engineers like Rex Netherford, Barrow, Eric Williams in the 60s, 70s. So we bring back that kind of content because those people work hard in creating this Caribbean identity, and so the whole thing is ushering this content. So part of all this too is coming through the arts.
And of course, keeping the arts alive.
Alive,
All right.
yes.
Now, David, how did you hear about the KAFA Fair, and how did you get involved with it?
Well, I've been involved about 2 or 3 years ago. I exhibited in Barbados, and we had a wonderful show there, and I performed there also. But I come from a rich family legacy of artists in the Caribbean. So I grew up in that, and it's good to have this kind of association and work shown representing the Caribbean. And the thing about the Caribbean now is to try to put up a certain quality, a certain kind of higher aesthetic, because the folk aspect of the Caribbean is still rough-edged. So what I am working at is trying to bring out that kind of aesthetic.
So tell me a little bit about your art, and what do you like to feature mostly?
Well, my art is 2 things. My art is not commercial. I am a colorist. I work with color in a very specific way. I grew up with my uncles, Jeffrey and Bosco, older artists, who were into the theater arts and everything. So I grew up with dance and everything. So I have a lot of subject matter. So I use this subject matter to express my color exploration. I'm a musician, so there's a lot of work with music into my art and art into my music.
Now, being from Trinidad and Tobago, you're exposed to lots of colors, especially when we talk about carnival,
Yes.
right? The carnival costumes, the carnival music. There's a lot that you are exposed to. Would you say being from Trinidad and Tobago has inspired your art at all?
Yes, I'm in the Caribbean. I studied different kinds of cultural dynamics in the Caribbean. Of course, Trinidad have a lot of rich African, East Indian, Amerindian, Asian, but that is the Caribbean. Trinidad is also, although we have the European, the African, the East Indian,
Trinidad, yeah.
but it's also a wide population of Caribbean people. So it's a whole melding. And it was always like that from the 40s, but somehow politics changed and make people different before they were considering the federation. So this is why it is so dynamic now to push our collectivism as a Caribbean entity rather than a singular island. So that's the, how to put it, that's the Tel Aviv of the Renaissance Foundation.
Okay. Now, David, tell me a little bit about these paintings here.
Well, these are just themes, and of course, it expresses color and poetry. Art is not art without poetry, and poetry is a language, and as language covers some kind of intelligence of shape, form, scent, gestures, and how you capture that. That is part of it. And the ballet dancers, which is this one, is part of the French,
Come here
African
so
French.
he can. Hold on. Come here so he can get the picture.
So wait, but are you filming you doing this like we dance?
He's gonna cut it. No, he's gonna cut it off. No, I just want you to stand here so you're not blocking.
So,
Right.
so how?
Okay, hold on.
Oh, you edit it.
Yeah. Not,
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
Wait, hold
ballet.
on. Okay, tell me about this one.
Ballet is it's a French, African French Creole dance. It's all over the Caribbean, and to me it represents the flair of dance, the color, the mannerism, the gestures, the eloquence of women, which is very much Caribbean. So, since it represents the Caribbean, it represents the beauty, it represents the archetype, as opposed to when you're watching TV, you're looking at European things and you assume European beauty is your beauty, but it's not. This is your beauty. This is part of the Caribbean heritage. So we have to assume those things. Part of what that does is when people see that, they could identify with themselves and be comfortable with themselves and their beauty.
So you're an artist, a musician. Are you a dancer also?
I dance with my words.
Very poetic, just like an artist. So tell me, in the next 5 years, what can we expect from you, David?
You would expect a whole change of a movement. By that time, that Caribbean Renaissance Foundation would be out there, and you'd find a whole melding relationship of Caribbean. Now, part of this Renaissance and part of the Caribbean dynamic is race is the deterrent of it, because the new human is Caribbean.
I like that. The new human is Caribbean. Now, where can we normally find your work, David?
You could Google David Boothman, and you'll get a lot of my work all over and projects I'm doing. There's a wonderful project on YouTube. Go to www.youtube.com/Transcend101, and you can get the Transcendental Caribbean art and music.
Well, thank you for taking the time out and
Thank
speaking
you.
with us, and congratulations. I know you have some other pieces outside.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When thinking of shipping a barrel, box, or sending money back home, think of the name you can trust. Think Laparcan. Laparcan has been serving our community for over 25 years, and a significant portion of every dollar spent at Laparcan goes to work in our community here and back home. Together, we are making a difference. For your shipping and money transfer needs, call Laparcan. Laparcan, the name we can trust.
Want to celebrate New Year's Eve in style? Well, come to an elegant New Year's Eve Platinum Ball on Tuesday, December 31st at 9 p.m. Come celebrate the New Year's with dinner and unlimited top shelf liquor. Tickets are $100. All profits from this ball will benefit 4 Indo-Caribbean charities: the Three Rivers Foundation, Operation Dreamcatchers, Indo-Caribbean Alliance, and Chutney Pride. This ball will be featuring 4 of New York City's top Caribbean DJs. We've got DJ Ravi from Unlimited Sounds, DJ Echo and DJ Speedy from Team Magnum, and DJ Ajay from New York Event Productions. For more information, please contact Shivi at 347-432-8545 or Sandra at 718-809-4151.
Getting ready to plan that special day? Well, the most important thing is capturing that special moment. No matter what the occasion is, big or small, Digital Photo by Buddy can capture it all. For all of your memorable events, whether it is a wedding, graduation, anniversary, sweet 16, puja, baby shower, or 9-day, Buddy will do it all. Just call Buddy at 917-741-9876. Digital photo by Buddy, capturing your memories. Please mention you saw this ad on Let's Talk with Lakshmi.
For all your special private and professional occasions, no event is too big or too small. We cover it all. Contact the professional source for all your party or special occasion needs. We have you covered at Star Party Rentals. Call us 516-239-2242. Please mention Let's Talk with Lakshmi for discount pricing.